good? Testing, testing. Hey, let me know. Give me a one if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me see. I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah. Hey, what's good with y'all, man? This is the Walker Bar for Black Authentic Truth, live in full effect. This is going to be a short live, but it's just some things I wanted to talk about. That's some current events going on uh, in the social media world. Of course, the mass shooting, right? The mass shooting. I'm gonna get into that first, and then we'll talk about Teacher Bay. I didn't know about Teacher Bay. I didn't know there was a Teacher Bay. I did not. I'm just hearing about Teacher Bay, and we'll get to that. And then I want to talk about a little encounter I had with a brother last night at my slavery at my job, right? Which was, it was a beautiful encounter with a brother I didn't know, and we both took away some things from our interaction. So, without further ado, what I want to get into, and shout out to Sister Baraka Nawa, shout out to Quadash, my main man, shout out to you. I see y'all in the comments. I want to talk about that mass shooting, man. Talk about that, something that has been going on. Mass shootings, from my memory, my whole life I've heard about mass shootings. Um, Bombings, typically white males that commit these heinous crimes. And that has just been the reality. I'm sure a lot of y'all can agree. Right now, they're changing the definition. So now, when it comes to a mass shooting, a lot of times when what we know in the black community as drive-by shootings and the type of crime that black people perpetrate against one another, now those are starting to be called mass shootings. Kind of muddy up the water and put a little gray area up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like at one point in time, it was clear of who is the people, and it's still clear. It's still, for the most part, it's still clear of what demographic of people go and just open fire in a public place. Now they're starting to, like, if three people get shot over the weekend in Chicago, now they're trying to call that a mass shooting. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up with you, CC Jr., Renee Gaines? What's good with you, sis? So yeah, so you had this shooting, and this is, let me pull up I'm gonna pull up picture of the assailant of this shooting at this Catholic school, which two children were unalive, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, which is sad. I also got a video. Let me see if I can find that video real quick. Which, this is the world we live in right now. What do I want? I want, forgive me, I'm pull this up. That's Teacher Bay right there. We're gonna get to that. Here, move this. Here we go. We should be able to.
And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And
start this over. This is now.
how
This
can
is
we?
Fox News. This is Fox News. This is very. This is surprising because Fox News typically is like a Republican conservative news platform versus CNN, which is more leaning left leaning and Democratic. And so the stories typically they're not going to blame, uh, you know, they're not going to blame themselves for certain crimes and just say what it really is. So let me play this.
How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom.
Wait, hold on one second. CJ, you said, I don't know if that's the sound you're going for, but you're in speakerphone mode with the audio. Okay, let me see. Let me see real quick. Thank you. Thank you, CC. I appreciate that. Let me just work something out real quick. What are we sounding like now?
what we sounding like now, CC? Let me. I wasn't for sure because right now I'm having technical difficulties with my roadcaster. Thank you. That because I couldn't really tell from listening on my phone, but thank you. All right, yeah. So we back. All right. Thank you, Renee. Yeah. So let me get back. Recant. Let me go back over review what I just said. So this is Fox News, and Fox News typically is right, conservative, right leaning, typically MAGA, as opposed to CNN is left leaning, Democratic. So this is different. Hearing a Fox News reporter say what they're going to say in this video. So just listen up.
How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom versus protecting children. I mean, how many school shootings does it take before we're going to have a conversation about keeping firearms out? It's always a young white male, almost always. It's a young white male.
So this is something you rarely ever hear them. I've never even heard them. No one actually say this on newscasts. Like, it's always a young white male, sometimes middle-aged white male. Well, that is the truth. And so now you have Donald Trump, who's focused on the wrong things. You have a president that's focused on the crime in Washington, D.C., focused on next Chicago and cities like Los Angeles for the crime and putting the National Guard in there. The last report I seen, they had the National Guard in Washington, D.C. picking up trash because there ain't no crime. It ain't nothing to do, right? But they're focused on the wrong things. They should be focused on Pleasantville. They should be focused on those gated communities. They should be focused on the places that they say it is low crime. This is the places, and these are the communities that are producing these mass shooters that have everything that they ever needed in life. These mass shooters that grow up with mother and father, these mass shooters that have all the resources in the world, but still decide to go do a heinous act like that. And let me just pull up the picture of the mass shooter, which is no surprise, right? It was no surprise who the mass shooter was. Like, as Black people, we didn't have to see a picture of the mass shooter to know what demographic they come from. We already knew off top. When I seen the mass shooter, I looked and I said, he looks like that from that movie, The Mask, with the guy that had the elephant syndrome or whatever it is, that disease where it makes you look disfigured. You look like him, right? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but that's what came to mind. That's what actually came into my head when I seen it. I was like, damn, like, he literally looks like that dude. You know what I mean? But this is the reality. The reality is that when I'm out and about in the world, and say I'm out and me and my family is out having dinner. Say that I'm out at the beach with my family. I do some things with my family, right? I'm not really focused, or I'm not profiling Black people. I'm not profiling Mexicans. I'm profiling people that look like this. It's more liable for shit to crack off in a situation like what happened in this last shooting at that Catholic school by people that look like this. These are the people that you need to be worried about when you are out about in public, when you're shopping in Walmart, when you're at the movie theater, when your kids are at school. And another thing that came out about this assailant is that he wanted to be identified as a woman, meaning he was a part of the alternative lifestyle group, which takes you back to that shooting in Texas. Also, that assailant was the same thing. So now you have a situation where these people are, not right in their mind. and they're committing these acts of violence in public. They're committing these mass shootings. And then, you know, they always focus on, oh, we need to have gun control. We need to take the guns away. No, you need to have people control. You need to look at the type of people that are historically committing these type of acts. You need people control. You need to focus. But see, America, and I'll be more direct, white America is in denial of this problem. Well, not this Fox reporter. He said what it was. He said it is always young white males. So I applaud the honesty. The honesty, you know what I mean? I respect the honesty, but more people need to be honest. MAGA, you know, those type of white folks need to be more honest with what is going on. And this is the thing. America always wants to push this line on other groups about crime and everything when they should be quiet. They don't have the moral authority and the moral compass because they can't even be honest with themselves of the homegrown terrorists that are produced right here in America. Y'all feel me? I mean, somebody let me know if if I'm tripping or not. Am I making sense? I think I'm making a lot of sense. But this is something moving forward. Like I said, Black people we got our problems. We got issues. We got things that we need to deal with when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to morality, when it comes to how we treat one another. Yes, we got issues. I'll be the first person to admit the issues that we have in the Black community. But let's be real. I'm not, unless you live that life, unless you're a Black person that lives the life, and I mean like you really in the streets, you really living that life, typically you ain't got nothing to worry about from other Black people. Usually you ain't got nothing to worry about from other Black people. You don't got nothing to worry about from a Mexican person. I'm in Southern California. I'm surrounded by Mexicans. I'm surrounded by my Mexican brothers. You know what I see Mexicans doing out here? Hustling, grinding, taking care of their family. Even at the lowest, like I see them on the corner selling fruit, selling food, selling something. Not what they talking about in the White House about they SA people, they're criminals and all that. I don't see that. Now, when you go to the gang element, the street level, the gang element, that's the same with everybody. Mexicans, Blacks, whites, Asians. I guess we forget that, you know, all these other culture, all these other people groups in America, they have street gangs too. But what I'm saying is, I'm not overlooking the problems that we have in the Black community. But what I will say is, when I'm out and about in my environment, or I'm going out to eat with my family, going to the beach with my family, my third eye ain't up, worried about maybe some Black dude is going to come with an AR-15 and start gunning down everyone. My mind is more looking at white folks in particularly a age range and a gender. You know what I'm saying? Now that's I can't say it no realer than that, man. I can't say it. So moving on, right? I'm going to move on to the next story. Teacher Bay. Remember, I said this is going to be a short live. I got some things to do. I got to go to my slavery later on, so I just wanted to get it in. And yeah, if you haven't seen me, it's because life happens. Life happens, and so it's you know putting together live shows and all of that is not easy. You know what I mean? Especially when you're doing it, you're doing it on your own, but it's doable. But that's why you haven't seen me. It's just like, life happens and you got to do what you got to do. So Teacher Bay. Now, when it comes to Teacher Bay, let me remove this. Let me make myself let's see. Let's go back to that middle screen. Now, when it comes to Teacher Bay, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about Teacher Bay. Just heard about it. It's a big thing. Dang, I took the video down. Let me get this video back up. Teacher Bay, I just heard about it. Apparently, it's a sister that's dressing with clothing that is very tight in the classroom, and she's going viral. From what I've seen on TikTok. Okay, so there's a lot of opinion on this. Give me 1 second. So there's a lot of opinion on Teacher Bay, and I'm going to play a video. This is the video that I had grabbed.
Personally, nothing wrong with BBLs, nothing wrong with the girl's body. She's a beautiful woman. I am not negating that fact at all, but she's proven that she can dress appropriately without all her goodness jiggling all around the classroom. I'm sorry, like this, anyone who does not see an issue with this, you are a part of the problem. I don't care. And then you posting videos and got these kids' names and their homework all on social media, knowing that your videos get like millions of views, and you're literally posting clips that have these kids' names on their assignments. Girl, find your priorities, because teaching clearly is not one.
Now, this has been basically the reaction. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me hook something up real quick. I'm back. So this has been the reaction. Black women have been, to say the least, they have been a little outraged with the situation with Teacher Bay. And at first, I was looking at it like, okay, you know, this is not typical. This is not typical. But you know what I'm saying? I'm proud to see that Black women are standing up to something that is morally correct. That is, I feel that I agree with them on this, saying like, why would a woman, and this teacher, this is not the first teacher that we have seen that has gotten attention for dressing provocatively, right? But from what I understand, this teacher has a BBL and she dresses in a way that a lot of people are saying, no, this is not professional. We understand that Black women have curves, right? We understand that sisters got curves, and a lot of times you can't hide what you got, but there is a way you can dress where it is not insinuating your figure. So here's another video.
Miss Williams. Hey, Miss Williams. It's Monday.
Marvelous Monday.
Oh.
So this is the teacher. Her name is Miss Williams. So this is Teacher Bay. Okay, this is who we're talking about. This is the controversy right now, but we also know that this is not new. There's been other sisters that have been in the limelight. And the thing is that many people don't feel like children should be subjected to a teacher that is wearing tight clothing. Basically, she's dressed like if you was going to the club or you going out. That's how she's dressed. Now, these are young, impressionable minds. And if people are honest with themselves, you know that children in some shape or form develop a type of, especially boys, they will look at a teacher and have a crush on a teacher. And I come from a time where teachers didn't dress like this. But of course, you did have teachers that, even though they dressed appropriately and professional, it didn't take away the fact that some kids gravitated to them more. And now you're talking about kids that are with a teacher a year or 10 months, 11 months out of the year. And so they're going to look at this teacher to a certain extent, kind of like a family member or a role model. So you're looking at a teacher like this, dressed provocatively like this, BBL and all that, everything hanging out. I mean, and when I say hanging out, I'm like she's covered up, but the way the clothes is hugging, everything hanging out, turning around to the chalkboard, writing. What do you think them boys is looking at? They looking at her back? I mean, really her back. Are they looking at that thing that's hanging? In my opinion, it's not professional. And I agree with a lot of the sisters that are outraged, that are speaking out against it, saying, listen, some sisters are going as far as saying, um, this is like pedo behavior. Like you shouldn't want to be seen and be in front of a class and want that attention, that type of attention from children. And then if you flip it, like let's just say if it was a man, let's just say if it was a man wearing, I guess the thing that you can say that would be kind of similar is a man wearing a muscle shirt that just hugs his body and you can see every abdominal muscle and all that, and he's got the gray sweatpants on where you can see what's under the pants. If you just use a little bit of imagination, they would go ham on that male teacher for dressing like that in front of those students. Y'all remember some years back, it was a male teacher that allowed the little girls to undo his braids, and they went ham on him, which I agree. I made a video about that. I said my daughters could not be in no class with no male teacher taking out his braids. My daughters sometimes help to take out my braids. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they will help to take out my braid, help me take them down. That is a very intimate thing. You know what I'm saying? So hell no, my daughters wouldn't do that. So I agree with how he got fired. I agree with that. So why is it a double standard now when it's a sister that's dressing like this? I know that Black women have curves. I had to. It's funny because I had a teacher named Miss Williams. Her name is Miss Williams. I had a teacher named Miss Butler, and I believe Miss Butler she probably would have been like around in her 40s. She was a pretty Black woman, but she dressed so classy. You know what I mean? I never looked at. I can't even look at her that way today. Oh, like Miss Williams was bad. I can't look at her like that because the way she dressed was so classy, and everything was, covered up and decent and right. Miss Williams also, she didn't dress like that. I'm sure she had a big old thing up under there, but you never would have knew because she didn't dress like that. The primary focus is education. The primary focus is not a fashion show and taking pictures for Instagram and for TikTok as a teacher. Why can't we see teachers that express how smart their students is, how good their students are excelling? What about stories like that on TikTok? Why we have to be, why has it gotten to this point where it's all about the outfit, the tight outfit that the teacher has on? So I feel like as Black people, yes, it's good that we come down on that type of stuff. It's good that we speak out and say, no, this is not right. It's bad enough the school curriculum don't teach kids shit anyway. Most of the things I know about history and stuff, I learned way after I got out of school. I learned on my own, doing my own research. It's bad, and that's bad enough, that the curriculum ain't top tier. And then you throw in another distraction like this. That's a distraction. That's a real distraction. And I guess she won't really get it because I'm sure she's not going to stop. She done got millions of views. Attention is king in this time. But she won't stop until, some superiors say something. Maybe that school system, that school district is more lenient than other school districts, but attention is king in this case. You know what I mean? So that's for Teacher Bay. Teacher Bay. You know what I mean? So now I'm going to move on, and I just want to talk a little bit about, before I wrap it up, what I want to talk about is last night I was at my slavery. Okay, I was at work, and I met a brother, and we just started chopping it up about, different things. First, we was chopping it up about work, about the job, and then we got on to investing. We started talking about investing, and then we started talking about cryptocurrency, which I'm familiar with. Like uh, about 6 months ago, I had a brother that told me about cryptocurrency, and I already knew about it. Did my research on it, of course. It was a little complex to start understanding, right? So I knew about it, and I had tried some things with some crypto apps or whatever. And I had a brother that has told me, "Oh, you should get this. This is a real good cryptocurrency to get. It's XRP, right?" I'm pretty sure many of y'all are probably more savvier than I am on that. Um, and so I did that, and over time, when I can, I would, put a little money to the side for it. And so this brother was talking about it, and he was very knowledgeable in the whole history of cryptocurrency, the different names and the parent companies, right? And he was just giving me all of this information on what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And he talked about a cold wallet. So when people, and I'm saying this all from what I learned from him, when you are getting cryptocurrency, like a person like me or like you, we're getting it through kind of like a middleman. So the middleman is the one that's getting it from the big companies, and then they're, selling it to you. And it'd be these different apps like crypto.com, Uphold. It's different apps, right? And so if something ever happened where they were hacked, you wouldn't have access to that anymore. So he said you get a cold wallet, which you then would transfer all of that to that, right? And now you really, really own what you have. Now, cold wallet can range from like $80 to like $160, right? Also, if you're gonna do that, you should get it in person. You should go to like a Best Buy or something and get it in person. Don't get it online, because the people that's selling it say, you know what, let me write down these serial numbers so when they do put something on it, then I can crack it. So you want to, but anyway, a cold wallet will have like a 16-digit number, where this number is a number that is no other way to verify you're you. So you have to take this number and write it down somewhere. You can't lose this number, or you won't be able to get into your wallet. But you own it. If something was going to happen with one of these middlemen, they get hacked or something, or they go down, you still can get your funds. Which I was like, wow, bro, like I'm appreciative that I learned this from you. You know what I mean? And then he asked a little bit about me, what I represent and whatnot. And I broke it down to him. The truth. He had never heard about the truth. He never heard the knowledge that Black people are the real Jews. Of course, that's my thing, historically and biblically. And also, I just dropped the knowledge, and he was like, wow, like, damn. And then we both agreed, like, we were glad that we talked to one another, because we both learned something by sharing some information that we knew and the knowledge that we knew, which was a beautiful thing. Funny thing though, as we were talking, after all of that, we got on to, he asked me, how did I get to the point, right? How did I get to the point where I'm at? And I explained to him. And then he told me how he started to learn about, cryptocurrency and everything, and his journey. And he said that it just came out of nowhere. He said, I used to smoke weed. I don't smoke weed anymore. And I said, brother, tell me what made you stop smoking weed? And he said, well, I was just thinking about my son. And, I noticed that it made me unmotivated. And I didn't want to be, smoking around my son and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, brother, because that's a similar story to me. And I'll take you back. I was, this is when I was in the world. This is about 2012, 11, somewhere around there, about 12. And you know, I was just looking at my son. I have my son a lot. He was like 2 years old. I would have him a lot with me when I'm out. I used to cut. People don't know about this about me, but people that know me know I used to cut hair, and I used to be like a travel barber, or I had a little section, and I would cut on the porch of my grandmother's house, right? But I had clientele that, you know, crazy, because it was always easy to get to me. Um, I wasn't as high as the barbershop, whatnot. So one day, but I smoked weed. I smoked a lot of weed. I'm smoking, and one day I'm just rolling a blunt. I'm looking at my son, and I just realized, like, I don't want my son growing up seeing me, you know, rolling a blunt, smoking weed. I don't want that for my kids. You know, at the time, it was, you know, that was the revelation I had. So I said, that's how that's why I stopped. Not to mention, also, I started to learn more about the truth and about black people, black men in our real place as being, you know, men of God. And I said, I can't be that. I can't be that great man if I'm smoking weed, right? And so we had a similarity there. It's not exactly the same, but the reasoning was similar. Like, I can't be doing drugs. I got kids. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to grow up seeing me addicted to anything. That took us to weed as an addiction, which, you know, he agreed. Like, I was like, I mean, I always bring this point out, is like, in the black community, we shame people that do harder, or quote unquote what we call harder drugs, like heroin and crack and all of that, right? And we shame them, and we make fun of them, and so we shame them for the things that people that smoke weed do also. So like, we shame them for, you know, they wake up, they on a mission trying to get them some dope. Late at night, they on a mission trying to get them some dope. And the brother brought up that, man, I caught myself one time calling the weed man. He wasn't in town. I called him 15 minutes later, was like, hey man, you ain't made it yet. Like, and we laughed about it. And I said, yeah, bro, like, I remember, you know, those times you waiting for the weed man. I remember you waking up, you can't even eat. He was like, yeah, you can't even eat. You got to get high. I remember you can't go to sleep without getting high before you go to sleep. And I'm like, what makes that different from anybody else with any other addiction? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? And so we agree, we laughed at it, like we was rolling, like, uh, you know, and the stories just came out. And I said, like, if people are honest with themselves, they will say they are an addict, you know, on marijuana. They will say that, you know, they will, if they were honest with themselves. But the society we live in, it won't allow us to be honest, because they say weed is a what you call it, a recreational drug. Which, come on, man, like, if you're addicted, you're addicted. But it was a beautiful build. It was a beautiful build. And I took away something, and he definitely learned something from me. And then at the end, we had similar stories about our experiences, just like, you know, as black men, which I feel was like, it was just gold. It was solid gold. And Yeah, so shout out to that brother Isaiah. Shout out to you, brother. And I told him, I said, you know what, I'm gonna talk about this, because this was dope. Shout out to you, Isaiah. Right. So with that, y'all, I gotta wrap it up, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Rodney, Sister Baratha Nawa, Renee, CC Jr., Quadash. I appreciate y'all for tapping in and giving me some feedback. All right. So with that, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I'll see y'all possibly Sunday. Look for me Sunday. That'll be my 100th episode, right? That'll be the 100th episode of Black going live for Black Authentic Truth. And with that, y'all, peace, man. Y'all stay safe out there. All right.